How's it going, everybody? Today we're going to be doing another Pinterest surfing session, and we're going to look at some awesome designs. If you haven't already, please make sure you're subscribed to support the channel. All right, so let's take a look at some things. Last time I talked about how sometimes I can look at some things that are outside of graphic design, so I'm going to try to get to the things that you want to talk about and some things that I want to talk about as well. So let's just go ahead and get started here. All right, so the first thing that caught my eye was this really cool design right here. For some reason, I just love the number 2 and I love the number 22, those two numbers together. So anytime I see that, that's immediately going to catch my eye. But the way that this is assembled and structured is just really cool. So all you have to do is just take your 2, and I'm very much assuming this is Helvetica. I'm like 99% sure of that. So just take the 2 and then rotate it and then connect them where this part right here meets this part. I know that that's very technical, very scientific and everything, but I really like the way that this is assembled together. Very cool. All right, what else do we have? We've got some cool stuff right here. This is interesting. This is okay, this spelled out looks like disability. Okay, so disability, and it is spelled out. Let me enlarge this. It is spelled out with these staircases right here. That is very, very creative. I love this. I wonder if they actually found some staircases. Now this one right here, this looks like it was probably flipped or photoshopped in some way. Still works very well, but this is cool. Many disabled individuals don't use the second floor of their homes or their basements because they cannot climb a set of stairs. This is a very, very cool poster. I wonder if it was actually made into a poster campaign, because we've got that little phrasing right there, but I don't see anything else on this. So it could easily be used for advertising for something, you know, just like to kind of get a message out and everything. But that is very creative, and I love the way that that was executed. Okay, what else do we have here? Here's a cool Pink Floyd poster. I'm a sucker for any type of vintage style concert posters. I don't know exactly when this was made. Obviously, it was for a 1973 concert at the Empire Pole, looks like. Oh wait, Stonehenge Rock Bar. Okay, sorry if the name of the band is Empire Pole. I've never heard of them before, but it's really cool. This has like a posterized effect on it, and they're kind of hanging out there in the outer space type of thing. Obviously, this has got to be some kind of a nod to Dark Side of the Moon. Looks like we've got like that spectrum, the rainbow spectrum going on around here, this really subtle type of stroke that's going around it, but it doesn't look like there's any other visual cues from that album. But the album did come out in '73, so that kind of makes sense. Okay, that's a cool design. Let's see, what else do we have here? Let's see. I think I've actually seen this one before. This is very reminiscent of like early 2010s, like around 2012. This type of typography especially was really popular, and I love this really long drop shadow right here. But I also love this little halftone effect that's going on right here. On the inside of the drop shadow, it looks like those circles are actually smaller. Of course, it could be an illusion, but that's what it looks like. All right, let's see what else we have here. We've got some really cool typographic stuff. I'm trying to see what else there is outside of typography, because, you know, there's a lot of other things that you can do even without type. Okay, technically typography, but this did catch my eye. This is a very interesting composition. You've got this type that's going on right here. It seems to be very orderly until you get to around this area, and it kind of looks like that portion of it was removed from it. And at first I wasn't entirely sure how to do this, but what I'm thinking is that you would get all of the type on the poster itself, and then you would make direct selections of all of those different areas there that actually have that type in there, and then you just move it out of the way. That's at least how I'm guessing they did this, but this is a really interesting layout. I'm definitely going to save this for some future things to come back to, like maybe a really cool composition idea. And then there's some really cool stuff down here. This is awesome. Right here, let's go ahead and let it load. And let's open it full size. Yeah, this is really cool. So we've got this type right here that's kind of spilling, kind of looks like an hourglass type of design. That's really cool. All right, here's another set of 22s. This time we've got 2 of them that are kind of lying on top of each other with one flipped on the bottom side there. I don't know what the deal is with the number 22. There's just something about the number 2 itself. It just looks really cool. And when they are right next to each other, it looks even cooler for some reason. Maybe you have certain numbers that you like. I like 2 and 22, 16 19 is another one that looks really cool. 96, I'm obviously a big fan of. I guess we all have our own little quirks of things that we like to see. All right, this is a very nice use of this font right here. I'm not sure what the font is, but it is for this Nike ad right here, Legacy Project. And I love red and yellow together. Pretty much anytime I see red and yellow together, I'm just gonna immediately be drawn to it and most likely gonna fall in love with it. Very, very cool design. This is something that's using a serif type, which is something you don't see that much of in advertising, at least not historically speaking. We're starting to see a little bit of it more and more, but I really do love the combination of the serif type with that long drop shadow, and it's just so cool looking. Red and yellow just immediately gives off this really cool vintage type of vibe to it, and there's something about it that just makes you, it just awakens something. Maybe it's because I grew up with so much red and yellow, especially when it comes to like fast food places. And like I went to Discovery Zone when I was a kid, so those colors were red and yellow. The colors just speak retro and fun at the same time. Okay, so we've seen a good amount of browsing. So let's type in Swiss design posters and see what comes up. A lot of the times it's the same old, so I'm going to try to find something that is kind of outside of what we typically look at, but at the same time, still honoring that Swiss type of layout. So here's a Joseph Muller Brockman poster, and I love the layout and the colors. Everything that's going on right here is awesome. Even something as simple as rotated rectangles and having ones that are offset, that's just a really cool design choice. So whenever you're putting together your poster designs, whether they're Bauhaus or Swiss or really any other style, just put some things together and then just move things a little bit slightly and just see how it looks. Don't be afraid to experiment and get out of your comfort zone. Your comfort zone can be a really tough thing to get outside of, so I definitely encourage you to do that. And right here we have another array of similar posters that are underneath here. Some of them are directly from Brockman himself, and then other ones are very much inspired by his work. This one right here is very interesting, and it's a great example of simplicity in design. It just has that underlying image right there with this yellow overlay, and it's got that really cool curving effect. Something like this is simple and easy to achieve in Illustrator and Photoshop. All right, let's see what else we've got here. We've got a lot of really cool Swiss designs here. I'm seeing a lot of things that I have seen in the past, so I'm trying to look for something that's really gonna jump out at me. Okay, over here on the right side where it says Super Rizzo, I can't actually click on this without making it go to the website itself, so I can't see a larger image of this. Actually, let me try this. Open image in new tab. There we go. Okay, that's much better. So this is a very cool one right here, and it's got everything that I love. It's got a vintage feel to it. It's got that really distorted type of type that's going on here, type of type. And it has a cool effect where we have this square that is over the head of this model right here, and it's kind of changing the colors that are going on in here. I love the duotone effect. I love all of the graininess of this image. Everything about this is just so cool. If you want me to show you how to do something like this in Photoshop, let me know down in the comments and I'll do it. All right, let's take a look at a couple of more Swiss designs. I'm gonna see if there's anything that's a little bit more outside of what we typically see. So right here is a technically Swiss layout. It's not really using the classic Swiss fonts that we're used to, but it is a very cool layout nonetheless. We've got this image blur that's going on, and notice how that grain is just perfectly blending very seamlessly with the image right here. And it is very interesting that the type up here is not aligned with this type right here. I guess you could argue that the center of this block right here is centered with the right side of this, but I don't know if I would have necessarily done that. I probably would have moved it over a little bit more to the left or to the right, just kind of aligning up with that big block of text right there. But then again, I'm sure the designer used a grid on this, so they're probably adhering to their grid system. And then you have this really small line of type right down here. That's just really cool. There's really nice balance going on here. Let's take a look at this video right here. It's a smudged photocopy effect, and let's see how they're doing this in Photoshop. Okay, so we've got the image of the model, adding a motion blur to it, and let's see what happens here. Okay, doing that. It is okay. So we're just erasing over that that right side right there. So the motion blur is just on the left side, and then doubling up on the motion blur for all the layers right there. Okay, looks like that. And then filter gallery going into the graphic pen. Okay, really increasing that light and dark balance there. I can't see how it's affecting it, but we're doing a pattern type of line. And so he's got two halftone patterns stacked on top of each other with a graphic pen underneath. That is actually very cool. So that is here, let's take a look at that really quick. So we go from, I can't do this. Okay, here we go, watch again. Okay, so starting from just this image right here. So this right here shows you that the original image, there's nothing special about it, just showing the model and everything. And then going from that to, Pinterest has the worst video player on the planet. There we go. So very cool effect and very quick to pull off. And then I would probably do in a situation like this is put like a color overlay on top and then just kind of give it some color there. Of course, it also depends on what you're doing with the image. Okay, let's look up some Bauhaus design posters and we'll just kind of take a look at some of these. Here's that same poster again that's now showing up under Bauhaus that was showing up under Swiss before. And that does make sense because Swiss design was born directly out of Bauhaus design. All right, here's an absolute classic. It's so classic, in fact, that I try not to talk about it too much because, I mean, we've all seen this before, right? But even if you have seen it before, you just can't deny its beauty. Something like this is a really good example of how you can achieve really great looking perspective in your posters. There's an obvious vanishing point, but we don't see that in the poster itself. And every time I see this, even though I know it's a poster with graphical elements, I really do feel like I'm looking up at a ceiling. Definitely one of my favorites, and I just love how those colors are being treated there as well. And as you can see down here, you can really go down a Bauhaus rabbit hole on Pinterest. By the way, if you haven't seen my video all about Bauhaus design and how it got started, check it out right up here. All right, let's see what else we've got here. A lot of this is going to be a little bit repetitive, and I don't mean repetitive from one poster to another. I mean things like this, where we actually have two of the same thing that's going on underneath here. If you do enough of a deep dive in Bauhaus, you'll find some really cool stuff. Like this one right here. I absolutely love this. I love it so much that I actually want to get it printed out and put it up on my wall. The colors here are just so warm and inviting, and I don't even care that it just has the word Bauhaus on top there. You could easily use this without that word at the top and it would be just as effective. But overall, this is a beautiful design and it looks like you can find this on Redbubble. Okay, what else do we have here? We've got some really cool stuff. This is actually one of my favorite artists. Let's see if we can find, let's see, accept all cookies. Let's see if we can find the one that I like the best. Let's see, I actually have it up on the wall. So it is a Stockholm 67 poster. All right, it's not on that page, so we'll look up Stockholm 67 poster. Yeah, this one right here. So this right here is my favorite poster from Bo Lundberg, and I actually did a video on this poster, so go check that out if you haven't seen it. And here is my favorite color palette of all time, orange, blue, and yellow. And those three colors applied to a Bauhaus theme, I just love this. If you're a designer, especially a new designer, and you're not familiar with Bauhaus design, familiarize yourself with Bauhaus design. Because so many things, I would even say that pretty much everything that you do or that you're doing right now came directly from Bauhaus, because there was Bauhaus and then Swiss, and from those two particular movements, so much of what we do now has come directly from both of those movements. So put together some Bauhaus stuff, and I would even recommend Bauhaus sizing or Swiss sizing any of the things that you're working on, whether they're college projects or projects that you're doing just for fun. One of the future videos that I want to make is adapting brands to Swiss design and Bauhaus design, and just seeing how I can take some of those existing elements and turn them into Swiss and Bauhaus. I think it would be a really fun experiment. All right, now let's just type in graphic design posters and see what comes up. Now we'll get a whole array of all kinds of different things. I think I've actually seen and discussed this retro one before. This one right over here in the top left. That's a very cool design. Here's that unknown poster again. And here's a really cool one. This looks like something that Jesse Nyberg would have made. And it is a really cool balance of that pink and purple or bluish purple type of color that's going on. And we've got that circular halftone pattern that you can apply in Photoshop, and just some really cool stuff here. These colors are awesome together. Here are 31 creative posters for inspiration. So it says, I am here, where are you? That is a very cool layout right there. Be wild and free. This poster is communicating movement and doing a very good job of that. Into the Wild, a film by Sean Penn. I haven't seen this film, but the poster is really cool. So right here, turn off the lights, and we've got the one person in here that hasn't turned off the lights yet. And I love how the arm is extending up here to the hand and reaching up to pull down that little light switch. That is awesome. Water, only half of people in Africa have access to safe water. Very cool communication, how we've cut the word water in half. And then down here, we've got what looks like a fountain or like water splashing up. That's a very creative approach. Got all in your head, flashing lights, tension, fatigue, diagnose your headaches, stress, visual disturbances, and throbbing. Very cool composition here. I love how all those words and everything are kind of protruding out and how she's slightly rotated back. That is very cool. American Psycho, what a really cool blending of a tie and a blade. This is awesome. The Green Mile, one of my favorite and one of the best movies ever made. Like The Drink, only not spelled the same. I love that. If you've never seen The Green Mile, what are you doing watching this video? How to Train Your Dragon. This is something that I still have not seen. I've never seen the original. Don't hate me, but I've never seen the original movie, so it's definitely something I need to go see, especially before the live action one comes out. Ah, what a great movie. 2001: A Space Odyssey. If you've never seen that, then go have your mind scrambled for 2 hours. Stranger Things Showing the Upside Down. This is awesome. I love everything about this, and the show is great too. Here's a great one right here, Freedom of Speech. It's an upside down microphone that is caging a bird inside. Very, very creative. I love this. I haven't seen anything quite like this in a long time. This screams early 2010s for me, but I do love the colors that are being presented here. They work together very well, and a layout like this would actually be pretty easy to pull off in Illustrator and then just bring it into Photoshop for those effects. All right, let's take a look at a couple more. I can look at these all day, but I actually have some projects to work on. This one right here is really cool. I love these types of color palettes where you have a mixture of retro and pastels. This says, do it for yourself. If someone else likes it, even better. And that's really a great message for anybody, but especially designers. One of the best pieces of advice I got from one of my design professors is that you always have to be creating stuff just for fun. Even if what you're working on is not a paid commission of any kind, always make sure that you're doing stuff just for fun, because you're going to be using techniques in those types of projects that you may not bring to your paid projects. And doing just for fun stuff is going to help to sharpen your skills. All right, this one right here is going to be the last one that we take a look at today. I am so in love with this. I want this on my wall like right now. So there's always a good time to grow, and it's a sunflower, which is my favorite flower. And the sunflower with the combination of the blue and yellow is giving me Seeds of Love vibes like crazy. I absolutely love this poster. It's definitely one of my favorites that we've looked at today, probably my favorite. So big shout out to whoever designed this. I'm going to see if I can find out who it was. Let's take a look here. It's a poster project. So it looks like this is the artist's website. It is medg.com.ar. All right, let's take a look here. Okay, this looks like the designer that made this poster. Huge shout out to you, dude. Awesome poster. All right, well, thanks for joining me and doing a little bit of Pinterest surfing today to find some inspiration. If you like this video, then definitely check out the others that are on my channel. Please like, share, and subscribe to support the channel, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.